Hello and welcome back to Automation Answers. Today I'm in Eindhoven in the Netherlands at the Mujin headquarters with the CEO Lukaz. So Lukaz, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate your time here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning from Eindhoven.
Yes, good morning, good morning. I would actually like to start off and say on a complete random side note, I was speaking to Zlata, who is off camera here, about the public transport. I drove down from Amsterdam to Eindhoven. The motorway standards and the driving in the Netherlands is very good.
Yeah.
Very impressed. So that's just my take on the Netherlands so far. Jumping into things, Lukaz, for those that don't know you, would you mind giving a bit of an introduction? So you've got 6 years or 7 years with ABB, launching a number of different offices in different locations, and now we're here in Mujin in the headquarters in Eindhoven. So could you just give a bit of an intro to yourself?
That's correct. That's correct. My name is Lukaz. I'm 42. I'm acting right now as the CEO of Mujin Europe. Previously, I was working for ABB Robotics for a couple of years in Poland, in China, then in UK for a moment. Recently I'm helping my friends to establish a European branch of Mujin here in Netherlands. We started the operations actually 1 year ago. Mm-hmm. And we keep continuing growing the team and the business here.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And just touching on that subject, so I think probably by the time this podcast will go out, you should hopefully be in your new office and your new location, which is a very good sign. Things are growing, things are going very well. Like you said, off the back of your launch last year, we hit Series C funding, I believe, which was around 85 million.
That's correct.
And been able to expand. So how are things operationally, and are you looking forward to the new office?
Yeah, right. So what is happening in Europe is actually a part of the bigger picture. So Mujin is in this kind of momentum where we have to scale up the operations globally. And after expanding from Japan to US, Europe become another spot, to be focused on. So we are building the operations here, and we are getting busy with the business and the customers. And as you see, we have started here 12 months ago. Mm-hmm. In the, let's say, small office and small showroom. Mm-hmm. But we are currently expanding to the typical industrial area where we're going to have 2,000 square meters.
Okay.
So let's say the full capabilities to present Mujin technology and the solutions to our customers.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And I guess jumping into the main subject, or having a general overview on the market, as a wider perspective, and then we'll dive into detail, what do you see on the market? What trends? What do you see customers requesting at the current state at the moment?
Yes, I mean, the industry needs automation, that's for sure. There's a huge gap in terms of people available for the operations, especially in warehouse industry. So we are basically in this kind of great macro trend where companies has to invest in the automation in order to run the operations. And Europe is not any different comparing to Japan, China, or US. We have some local flavors here, as Europe is a little bit different than US and Japan. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, automation, let's say robot automation, is the future of warehouse industry. And we are trying, to prepare our offer to make sure that we can really deliver the value for our customers.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And one of, maybe not all of them, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're the expert, but what I see in terms of the market at the moment and why the real need is there for automation, the cost of launching a warehouse, even the running cost or even acquiring land, is becoming harder and harder. So that means customers have to go further and further afield in terms of acquiring land or renting land, however it works. By default, that means, yes, you can get land at a cheaper price, but you're further away from the city centre. And as a byproduct of that, there's no people around. I would know, I'm in recruitment, it's hard to find people in remote locations. So I guess that is not the only factor, but a very big contributing factor as to where you guys would come in to assist with the lack of resources that's in the area, right?
Absolutely. And actually you can very clearly observe that in Europe. What's happening in Europe is that in the western part of the Europe, you see that there is a lot of upgrades of the brownfields, mm-hmm. Of the brownfield distribution centers, mm-hmm. where actually in the eastern part of Europe and Central Europe, there is a huge investment in the new logistics warehouses. Mm-hmm. So yes, running the operations require a space. And if you want to scale up your operations, you need even more space. So one trend that we observe right now, that we are observing right now when we talk to our customers, is that they are asking us, is it possible, to concentrate or to make the footprint smaller while applying some automation? Because that will help them, to stay within the building that they rent since 15 years, without, the necessity, to go out and look for the new site.
Yeah.
But so yes, you are absolutely right. So it's not only the lack of the people, but it's also the fact that if you really scale up your operations, you have to think, how to run the operations within the same building.
Yeah.
Or you have to rent a new building basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess another factor to what you just mentioned there is the cost of borrowing money, the interest rates going up. Like you said, very rare at the moment that a customer is just going to be launching $100 to $150 million warehouse, which maybe a few years ago would have been quite common, right? But now, like you mentioned, it's about maximizing or space optimization, maximizing what you have, doing small upgrades or retrofits or brownfield extensions, like you mentioned, to get the most out of what you have. Right?
Correct. Yeah, correct. Also, the global situation when it comes to the stability, financial stability, is not great.
Yeah.
So whatever is possible for the customer, to get as much as possible from the location that they already have, is absolutely best for them. So how to utilize the current space to the maximum is the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see in the market, I'm not sure your perspective, a lot of really cool and innovative technologies from anywhere in the world, coming from the US, coming from Asia, coming from even Australia. I've seen a few new different pieces of technology, whether that's AGVs, AMRs, pick piece, truck loading, unloading robots. They come into Europe, maybe from a different location or different continent, and struggle setting up, despite their technology fundamentally being probably quite usable and very quote unquote cool. So what do you see that in the market, and what's your interpretation of how to really grow into Europe with stability?
Well, the first thing is that Europe is definitely a different market than US or Australia or Japan or China. Yeah, it has a kind of local flavors and some specific. So before coming here, you have to understand, that Europe is a market of 350 million people, well developed, with a very high salaries and wages, and with the lack of people. You also have to understand that from the logistics perspective, that Europe is a home of 13 out of 20 largest material handling companies. So all of the Schaefers, TGWs, Knapp, they are living here. They are coming from Europe, right? So somehow the market locally is driven by those material handling integrators. Yeah. So if you really want to survive on this market, you have to make sure that your go-to-market strategy is very well prepared. And we have actually spent a lot of time, preparing our go-to-market strategy to make sure that we will be able to add the value to all of those big customers before we came here. So this is true. There was a lot of companies coming from different corners of the world setting up the operations in Europe, but sometimes they are trying to, let's say, copy-paste the same strategies to Europe. And they see that, after a couple of months, that something doesn't work here. Yeah. So you really have to be well prepared to lead the business in Europe. There's a lot of specifics related to Europe.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned when we were having a coffee before we were filming about understanding the different silos or the different macro trends within the space at the moment. As I kind of touched on before, there's a lot of cool technology out there. So I guess it's about how to introduce that to the customer, but making sure it's reliable, you have the infrastructure, but also understanding the customer doesn't necessarily only want the cool technology. They want the software, they want the operations, and they want the integration of it all. So I guess, what do you see about on that subject, and how do you face that?
Yeah, this is absolutely true. Actually, what we are observing is that a lot of those great technology companies, they've been, growing their products and technologies in the kind of silos, right? So robot makers, they've been doing the robots since 40 years or more, and they're even doing the better robots today. The AGV makers are very good in doing AGVs. The software makers are very good in doing the softwares. So somehow you have, let's say, at least 3 or 4 silos that have been growing, in parallel. And at the end of the day, what you need, and actually what the customer needs, is that someone who will come and integrate all of those technologies and make sure that it will work.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of trend that we observe right now. That on one hand, the customers expect the flexibility and scalability, so they would like to invest in all of AGV technologies and robot technologies.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they also need someone who will come and say, "Hey, how to integrate that and how to make sure that what I will install right now will be also useful in next 2 or 3 years. So how to add, the more units to this system in next 2 or 3 years to help me to scale." And what we see recently is that there is a kind of niche market for, let's call it system integrators, who has a great understanding of robotics, both AGVs and robots, and the software. And I think this is something what the Mujin is good at, because Mujin as origin, we are the software company. We are very good in software, but we have a deep understanding of robotics. So I think this is a kind of value that Mujin can bring to the customers here in Europe, and not only, basically globally. More and more of those robot solutions required right coordination between the robots and AGVs and the software, kind of synchronization or orchestration, to make sure that you can really utilize those robots efficiently. So the trend is to make sure that when you run your warehouse as a customer, you have to keep the robot busy.
Yeah.
Right. So keeping the robot busy means that you have to split the operations in the right sequence to your AGVs, to your robots, through your intelligent software. Yeah, to make sure that at the end of the day you will deliver what you have to deliver as a warehouse, and your robots will be working, right?
Yeah.
So this is a kind of trend that we observe right now on the market. That there is a lot of technology companies working in the silos, but there is very few really have a full understanding, how to integrate those technologies, how to orchestrate those technologies, and by that delivering the value to the end user.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. And you touched on it earlier, actually. It's a common, I guess, point for discussion that comes up quite a lot with the rapid advancement of new technology, new softwares, etc. Probably 10 years ago, we maybe didn't necessarily have the advancement of technology we do now. In another 10 years, there'll be some form of technology that we also don't have now. Maybe humanoids, I don't know. I guess we kind of have them now, but not as advanced. Does it concern you that the rapid advancement of technology, when you're going to a customer and saying, "Hey, here's our solution," that in 10 years' time, even 5 years' time, they're sitting there thinking, "Is this going to be obsolete? Do we need this in 5 years' time?"
Well, the technology is growing, definitely. And Mujin, as well as the other companies, are the part of the race, right? So we are also adding our small piece to the technology growth globally. And yes, you are right. The recent 12, 15 years is actually the huge jump when it comes to the technologies. And this is basically because of two reasons. The computer vision technology has grown rapidly within the last 14 years. And motion planning technology for the robots also grow rapidly within the last 14, 15 years. So yes, right now we are trying to deliver to the market the robots that will work 24/7 efficiently, without any breaks or malfunctions. And this kind of systems are still very new to the market. I guess we have at least 15 years ahead for delivering AGVs, robots, this kind of, I would say, traditional robotics technologies to the market with the intelligent software. And yes, maybe in the next 15 years, there will be the new era of the humanoid robots. So instead of AGVs or robots, you will need an army of the Optimus robots and so on. The only point is that I really like these ideas of humanoid robots. It's pretty cool, actually. It could be very helpful. But the price seems to be the key for the scalability.
Yeah.
We both saw Elon Musk interview recently when he says that he can sell Optimus for 30,000 US dollar, right? I have a doubt whether he will be able to get this price actually.
Yeah.
For such advanced machines, but if so, then even better. Perfect.
Yeah. I think on that point, I think the cost you can maybe get there actually, but I think it's about the battery technology. I don't think the battery technology, which is ironic because it's Tesla, I don't think it's there, right? So I mean, a normal warehouse worker would work a 10-hour or 12-hour shift. The robots need to work a 24-hour shift essentially. I know they could have a break and then more would come in, but I haven't seen necessarily a humanoid on the market at the moment that can do a 12-hour shift. And I think that's going to be the biggest problem. I think once the battery technology catches up, it could be okay.
Right.
But then probably once the battery technology advances, then the price and the cost will naturally go up, I guess. But I think it's a really good point. Humanoids are definitely coming. So that's exciting. Whether there'll be mass adoption, I don't know.
That's cool.
But it does seem exciting. But I think touching on what you said, you're just in that constant cycle of being flexible, meeting the customer's needs now, but also having that reliability of introducing new technology now that might not necessarily be needed in 10 years' time. But as I said, talking about the flexibility, you need to be flexible and keep moving on and keep innovating, right? So
that's correct. I mean, currently there is no technology which is as flexible as the humans, right?
Mm-hmm, that's true.
And as agile as human. You can put humans everywhere. They don't require the space. They can perform any type of operations, and you can basically start adding the humans as your operations scale up. But it's not a way to go. We see that.
Yeah.
I mean, the customers see that. I mean, can you imagine the world without the robots in the future?
Mm-hmm. I can't personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So, so doesn't matter what type of the robots we will use in the future.
Yeah.
It could be kind of industrial robots as it is today, or humanoid robots as it is presented, or maybe something in between.
Yeah.
But anyway, the technology will help, to make our life a little bit better.
Yeah.
And without technology, without the robots, we won't be able, to perform all of those operations that has to be performed in distribution centers or factory. And on the other hand, we as a consumers, we will not be able, to get our goods next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need automation. Doesn't matter how the automation look like, but at the end of the day, yes, you need this kind of technology.
Yeah, agreed. I guess it's our fault as consumers, right? Because we buy something and then we expect it next day. So it's our own fault. Yeah, which leads to great technology. So fair enough. And I think you mentioned there was a very important point. I don't necessarily think, and there's no one solution that will take over all operations, or robots won't take over, which is probably what is perceived on the market. But if we implement it right, and if you find the right solution for your problem, then it will be a very, very big contributing factor. But like you said, humans still play quite a big part, not only in the warehouse, but just in general. So that needs to be considered, because you see it a lot where everyone's like, robots are going to take over, but it's not necessarily the case, right?
It's absolutely not the case. It's absolutely not the case. Mm-hmm. Robots will, let's say, help people to perform the operations, not all the way around.
Yeah.
And if you see, even recently we've been discussing about that. There was a lot of fear on the market, saying, "Hey, robots will take our job." Mm-hmm. But if you look at the top 10 most advanced countries where the robot density is the highest. I'm talking about the countries like South Korea, Germany, Japan, US. So the robot density in those countries is huge. Yeah. It's basically because of the automotive industry. So those countries has been growing with automotive industries. Yeah. And if you compare what is the unemployment rate in those countries, you will actually find out that high robot density means very low unemployment rate. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how is that possible? Are the robots really taking the jobs? Mm-hmm. Or maybe they are just, taking the people outside of those, boring, repetitive tasks, to put them somewhere else. And the robots, replace the people for those, dangerous, very monotonous operations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Excellent.
So it shouldn't be a fear to anybody. I mean, we should more treat the technology as something what can really help people to live better. Yeah. Rather than something that will take over our jobs. Yeah, doesn't matter if it is industrial robots or humanoid.
And on the subject of AI and robotics, we don't have the truckbot with us. That should hopefully be, I think we're running out of space here, I think Zlatan was saying. So maybe in the new office, you'll have the truckbot on display, but we have the Mujin application here on display. The use of AI is obviously very important, and machine vision, and you've got the Mujin controller as well. Would you mind just giving us a bit of an overview as to what the viewers can see in the background here in terms of the application, how AI and technology drives this?
Right. Yes. I mean, what you see on the background is actually the robot application for mixed case palletizing and depalletizing. This is something what we think will play a major role in Europe, especially for the grocery distribution centers or fashion distribution centers. And yes, that solution contains a robot creeper vision system and the software to recognize the objects, or the software to place the objects, like for example, to build the pallet patterns. All of our solutions contains a piece of AI or machine learning. We call it machine intelligence. It's something between the AI and machine learning. It is our own technology, and that technology helps the robots to understand the surrounding. So by applying the vision systems, the robots can recognize where is the object, can also calculate the trajectory automatically, how to get to this object, pick this object, and come back safely to the drop point. And the robots are more and more efficient as they perform more operations. So this kind of machine intelligence is a big part of all our solutions. It's actually something what makes the edge for us as a company.
And where do we see the next? We're talking about the future and new technologies coming that we can't predict, but where do you personally see the next 5 years in terms of Mujin, in terms of your technologies and the market in general?
Yeah, when it comes to the market will grow rapidly. As we already discussed, market is driven by e-commerce growth, which will not stop at this moment. There are no signals that will stop, especially in Europe. Market is driven by the very high cost of labors, especially in Western European countries. So yes, the Western European distribution centers will be refurbished, automated, and there will be new distribution centers located in the Central Eastern Europe. And when it comes to our operations, we have to adapt to this situation, right? So I see Mujin as a 50 plus people company in next 3 years with a, let's say, multi-million business here in Europe. But seriously, our idea is to deliver the value to the customers. So we have to make sure that our offerings is something what the customers would like to buy. This is why we, tailor our offerings to, especially to the European market, by offering sub-solutions, function packages, and services. One thing is to have a right offering to the local customers, and second is to support the operations. So to deliver the solution to the customer is one thing, right? To sell something is one thing. But the second thing is, how to maintain that. So how to make sure that you can deliver the sales service support to all of those installations that are spread out within Europe. So you can have some project in Spain, in UK, in Italy, in Germany, and you have to make sure that the operations that you have in Europe are following this kind of setup. So I hope that the Mujin will be, let's say, at least 50 plus people company with a proper and professional operations setup here in Europe.
And closing question, I'm trying to find like a common closing tradition, but I'm struggling at the moment. So today's closing question, unrelated to Mujin, and we spoke a bit about humanoids, so maybe that's the answer. What personally excites you in the next 10, 15, even 20 years, whether that's humanoids, drone technology, new software, what's out there that?
I guess the curiosity. I mean, we are all talking about this AI, robots, humanoids, Optimus, and blah, blah, blah. But the curiosity is to finally see it in action, right? So what I would like to personally see is that, one day I can sit at home and then pushing the button, and then there is a robot coming in, serving the coffee, right?
Yeah, okay.
Or there is another robot coming in, bringing your groceries.
Okay.
So let's see. If that's the future, looks like positive future. I hope it's gonna work in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. I think that if we're talking about the cost for household applications, I think humanoids need to come down a lot. I think, is it $30,000? I think the Tesla robot, which is probably a bit too much for me. I don't know about you, but no, I agree. Awesome. Well, Lukaz, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for coming on. That concludes I think we're on the 8th episode now of Automation Answers. So thanks for listening or watching, and we'll see you soon.